You don't always gotta have a filter, but you know, we gotta set the mood. It's about the vibes. Vibes gotta be right. Should we get the glow? Nah, I don't know about that. I look a little ghoulish. You see that? A little ghoulish. Looks like I'm like losing some pigment. I like that. You know what I mean? That's got the vintage vibe to it. Let me see what else we got. Ooh, pops. Let's go with this one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're live in full effect. We're here today. You know what I'm saying? It feels good to be alive. Every day is a good day when your heart is beating. You know what I mean? No matter what you're going through, as long as your heart is beating, you got another opportunity to make whatever circumstance you're in to be the best moment ever. You know what I'm saying? At least that's what it feels like. At least that's what I believe. You know what I'm saying? And that really is the perfect segue to what this video is about. Because I was thinking recently, just after just really looking at the world, because I do that a lot. I'm always kind of assessing society and the people that I'm meeting, not to judge, but just to kind of like get a heat check of like the vibes and like the frequency and the energy that's being emitted from the average people that I'm meeting on a day-to-day basis. And what I'm recognizing, is this recording? Yeah, I got it on the camera. What I'm recognizing is that I feel like there's like a mental health crisis going on right now. Like, it's like an epidemic of like low self-esteem. Like low self-esteem is like a huge thing. And I don't think people are talking about this enough. It seems as if like the average person, which I don't like saying average because it's like, when you say average person, it's like the average person is average, but it's like the average energy level at this point is kind of below what it should be. I just think that we need to raise the energy levels. I feel like the status quo is like, I don't like it. You know what I mean? We got to question the status quo, challenge it. I'm looking at the world and I'm like, yo, where's the vibes? Where's the confidence? It's like, I don't want to always be the most confident person in the room. And maybe I'm in the wrong city. Maybe I'm in the wrong part of town, but I'm noticing that everywhere I go, I'm getting more people telling me, yo, you have great energy. Wow, you're so positive. And at first, you know, you're flattered. You know, I get flattered. I'm like, oh, man, look at me. You know what I'm saying? I got good vibes. I feel good. But then I'm like, thinking to myself, I'm like, yo, if I always have good energy and great energy, and people notice that, what does that say about the environment? What does that say about the environment if it's like so noticeable? That means that maybe the vibes aren't as up as they could be. And I think that like, it's a manifestation of the way people are thinking, the collective consciousness, low self-esteem. It's an epidemic, man. People are like not believing in themselves anymore. People don't like, it's like people are like giving up on themselves. It's like, what's going on? I don't know what is happening. I don't know how society is grooming, how we're being groomed to think like this. I don't know if it's the phone usage, how social media is like set up, the algorithms. But it seems like a lot of people are lacking in self-confidence these days. And you know what? Let's not focus on the problem too long. Let's focus on solutions. How can we make the world a better place? How can we make people feel better about themselves? And maybe it's making content like this. Maybe it's creating more content that helps people feel empowered and not give up on themselves, to continue to persevere. That's where my mindset is at. And I'm like, you know what? It feels great to feel great. You know what I mean? It feels good to feel like the man. You know what I mean? It just feels good, right? It feels great to feel empowered. But through my own studies and learning about Christ and spirituality and really learning, it's like when you feel good for a long time, you can develop an ego, right? You can start developing pride. And you know, it's very sinful, and that energy can make you the type of person that looks down on people. But what I'm learning through the reading is that it's like when you're spiritually privileged, when you have a high spiritual energy, it's like your job is to uplift others. Your job isn't to stunt on people and make people feel bad because they don't have that quality at the moment or they're struggling to release it. It's like your job is to be a source of light, a source of strength for others. And I'm realizing that more and more, that I have a responsibility. You know, great power comes great responsibility. And so when you have that inner power, it's like our duty and our job to shoot the energy beams of positivity and power to others. You know what I mean? No matter if they push it away, if they don't resonate with it. It's like our job is to just keep doing that and stay persistent with that. And I believe that that is what we could do to impact the world every day. And it happens in subtle moments a lot of times. Sometimes it's not about making the video. It's about when you're at the grocery store and you see the cashier, they're just like, you know, working their job, not really wanting to be there. You know what I'm saying? And you can brighten that person's day. You can, you know, give them a sense of confidence in themselves. And sometimes it's subtle. You don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Motivational Coach. Sometimes it's just subtle things that you could say to make them feel good. You know what I'm saying? And I recognize that that's something that I naturally like to do. And now I'm realizing it more and more. I'm like, oh, this is like why I'm here. Like, it's to empower people. It's to make people feel like they can do anything. They can be anything. And that, you know what? If you get knocked down, it's not, you don't gotta stay down. You can get back up. You know what I mean? Get back in the fight. And life is like that. You know, life will, you know, hit you with the right hook. You know what I mean? And sometimes you don't see it coming. And you get knocked down. But that don't mean you gotta stay down. I'm like, hell no, bro. I remember I've been through things where people thought it was like, all right, you've somewhat slipped or you failed in some capacity. You took an L. And I don't like saying those words. But it's like, in the eyes of the other people, they looked at me like that. And it's like, oh, we gave up on him. He's done. It's like, no, bro, what? I'm just getting started. It's only the first round, baby. That's how I'm thinking. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how I've always thought about it. You know what helps me out? When I look at myself, I believe, not just believe, one thing I know and what I've studied and what I've learned is that all action is superseded by identity. I think I'm using that word right. Superseded, it's preceded. It's like your identity shapes your actions. It shapes how you move through the world and what you just basically do, how you exist. And so one identity I've always kept in my mind is that I was a superhero. Ever since I was a kid, I've never, ever not thought this about myself. A lot of people, when they're a kid, that's what you think. When you're a young kid, you want to be a superhero. But society kind of takes that out of you. But for me, I've never, ever not thought I wasn't. No matter what. You know what I mean? And like, I was a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, so I've always thought of myself like a Super Saiyan, right? And a Saiyan is here to protect the world from the bad guys. The superhero's here to protect the world from the villains, you know what I mean? And one thing that a superhero always goes through is the superhero gets knocked down, right? It's in the last moments. The supervillain you think he's gonna win, but the superhero always comes back, right? Always comes back and saves the day. And that's how I've looked at myself as a person. I'm like, yo, even when I was knocked down, in my mind, it was like, yo, like, this is gonna be the greatest comeback ever. I'm a champion, even that identity. I've always told myself I was a champion. And it's like, some people, like, they don't think like that, or they think that it's wrong to think like that. It's like, oh, you're cocky, and yeah, it can make you cocky if you're not aware of the intentions and your purpose in life, right? And for me, I'm like, man, I'm a champion, and I'm a man that never gives up. You can knock me down, but I get back up. And you know what? It's because there's other people watching. There's other people who are inspired by that. You feel me? And I'm here for a reason. It's like that type of thinking, that type of like putting that on your like conscious. It's not a pressure. It's not like pressure to slow you down or make things harder. It makes you, for me, it helps me rise to the occasion. It makes me realize, it helps me never give up. It helps me never like think that I could take too many days off or a day off at all. It's like, no, every day I gotta be on. I gotta be ready to go. You know what I mean? It's like having that psychology always allows me to keep going. You know what I mean? Like, another psychology I've always had is that my life is like a movie. An epic movie, an epic tale. I've always told myself like that. It's just like, this is an epic, prolific story, right? And anytime I've gone through a hard time, I'm just like, yo, this is only gonna make the movie better. This is already gonna make the movie better. And I don't know exactly how the movie ends, but I know it's gonna end on a positive note. You know what I mean? It's always gonna end as a great story. And people walking out of the movie theater like, man, that was a great movie. He went through so much, but he kept going. kept getting back up. Like, man, that's a story of a champion right there. Like, that's how I speak on a day-to-day basis. Like, you gotta watch how you speak to yourself and how you view your life. Like, you kind of gotta, for me, what's helped me out to never give up is that I've romanticized my life. You know what I mean? I've romanticized it. I've turned it into like this like story, like, and it's through my own perception of how I'm viewing the world. And so, like, some people may hear this shit and be like, man, that's ridiculous. Like, it's like, all right, well, that's how you look at it. But for me, this is what helps me. Everyone has a perspective or a perception of their life and of the world. And the way I'm thinking is totally the opposite of a victim mentality. Totally the opposite. And I have had a perception of a victim mentality, but still, at the back of my mind, there was just something telling me, never give up, man. You're gonna make it. You got this. Keep going. You feel me? And the more I started to listen to my inner voice and pray more and meditate more and truly find self-love, self-respect, and self-trust, I started to trust that voice. And that voice has gotten louder and louder and louder and louder, and it's so much this like loud ass voice in my head that's just saying like, you can do it! Never give up! It's you, baby! You know what I mean? And like, it's so much to the point where I've become my own best friend. Like, I'm my own best friend. Like, I like having friends, but I don't need friends. I don't need a best friend, because I am my best friend. I am my biggest fan. I am my coach. I am my biggest supporter. You know what I'm saying? So anytime I'm doing anything, I don't talk to myself as if I am my own enemy. A lot of people bully themselves. A lot of people will be their own enemy. They'll mess up and be like, look, see, you did it again, loser. They'll say things like that to themselves. And it's like, yo, don't you realize, like, yourself is almost an extension of you. Like, think about it. If you are you, but then you have yourself, then who is yourself? Yourself is like this manifestation that exists in the simulation. That's one other conversation. But you know what I'm saying? So you have a self. So how do you treat the self? Are you going to talk to it crazy and say it's worthless and it can't do anything and to give up? Or are you going to be like, yo, I love you. You can do this. Like, I know maybe you made a mistake. Maybe you're going through a hard time, but it's all right. You're gonna prevail. You will succeed. You will win. Don't stop. Believe in yourself. Cheer up. You got this. That was good. Great job. See, you're doing a good job. You could do this. You could do anything. Talking to yourself like that. That's how I talk to myself. And I'll tell you this. Your life is not going to be any less. Your life is not going to get any worse if you talk to yourself better. Like, you know what I mean? Some people are like, they'll hear this stuff and they'll be skeptical and like, nah, I don't need to do all that stuff. And it's like, you know what? Anybody who's watching this video and you got to this point and you're probably not the type of person. But some people think like that. And you know what? Hey, if they don't need to do that and their life is going great, then cool. But some people, they need it. Some people, they don't know how to, they haven't had people around them that was super supportive of them. They didn't get taught how to talk to themselves. And so it's never too late to learn, right? And it's never too late to apply new things to grow and evolve and to become the best version of yourself. It's never too late. Never too late. Never, ever, ever too late. Never believe that. I'm just gonna change my style mid-video. I'm gonna start talking like this. I need people to feel me. Passionate. You know what I'm saying? I need y'all to feel me, dog. Feel me for real. Not literally, because that sounds kind of weird, but I'm saying like spiritually, not physically. Spiritually, I need y'all to feel me what I'm saying. This is raw, man. This is passion. I'm down there sweating right now. You know what I'm saying? Blood, sweat, and tears, baby. But for real, it's like that, man. Passion for life. We need this, man. Our society needs it, bro. They're looking at the world. I'm like, man, people say the world is a reflection of you. And I'm like, man, maybe some of it is, but not all of it, man. Because I don't be feeling like half these people out here. I be looking at people and I'm like, damn, man, walk with your chest out, man. Show some eye contact. Like, come on. Like, where's that energy, man? I'm looking at the world and I feel like people are like, it's like, man, like something is telling them like they're not good enough. And maybe it's a society. It could be capitalism. It could be a lot of things. We could blame so many things. So many things are telling us we're not good enough. We're basing our self-esteem and who we are based on how much money we have in the bank account, based on how many friends we have or don't have, based on how many people follow us on social media, based on our gifts and what we've achieved or haven't achieved. Like, we're basing all of our self-esteem on worldly creations and ideas when really none of those things can truly give it to you. You have to give that to yourself. And one of the best blessings I've ever had is that I haven't had major success at a young age. You know what I mean? I have had to go through things and live life. And I'll tell you this, I've learned how to feel like a millionaire with no money in my pocket, or with a little bit of money in my pocket, or just I've known how to feel like the man and not needing a bunch of friends, or a guy wants to have girlfriends and girls after him, but dude, I know how it feels to just not have anything, bro. But psychologically and spiritually and just how I feel about myself, it's dude, it's just I feel like I got everything. That's just how I carry myself. And some people may think that's arrogance or something. You shouldn't think that about yourself. At your wage. There's people out there who will either say that out loud or subconsciously look at you and be at your wage. Act like what you have. You know what I mean? And that's their paradigm that they're in. I'm dude, I'm not in that paradigm. I don't need $1 million to feel like I got $1 million. I don't need a Ferrari to feel like I'm driving a Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to have the freshest designer clothes to feel like I'm rocking some fresh designer clothes. I don't need any of that stuff to feel amazing about myself. And I recognize that some people who have a lot of those things, they will still look at me and they will envy me. Because they have something that could be taken away from them, but I have something that you could never take away. It's that's real value. It's real power. You know what I'm saying? And not here to just be cocky and tell you I got it, you ain't got it. I'm just trying to break it down and how I'm looking at the world these days. And I'm man, we need to raise the self-esteem of the people, man. The president ain't even be saying that. We look at our president. I'm not trying to I don't want to just diss the president, but I'm just saying the culture of the politics. It's it's almost they don't say nothing about we need to be great. You know what I'm saying? We're not hearing messages like that. You can find it on social media. You can find it on TikTok. You can find it if you're looking for it. And there's people out there who are looking for it. There's people out there who are creating that. And there are people with self-esteem. I'm not trying to say everybody isn't like that. And maybe I'm focusing on the wrong people. But I just think that we could use more inspiration, more self-empowerment, and we could create a society where people believe in themselves more. And I think that, it would just make the world a better place. It would there'd be less violence, there'd be less sadness, there'd be less unnecessary struggling. We're gonna go through struggle. We're gonna suffer, and the suffering is a part of life, but some of it's unnecessary. A lot of it's self-inflicted. A lot of it's just about how people are thinking on a day-to-day basis. And it's man, we don't gotta live like this. And maybe this is the way God set it up. It's supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be some sort of a fight. And it's supposed to be there's supposed to be struggle, you know what I mean? And there's supposed to be people like me. There's other people out there who are just like me, who have not more confidence, you know what I mean? And they're out there doing their part and their job. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other. We're supposed to empower ourselves, not so that we can overpower others, but to show others how to do the same. That's the realest shit, man. That's what we're here to do. And, it took me a while to learn that. I think, I just know, being ambitious, wanting to do great things and believing in yourself, that can blind you towards ego and pride and wanting to rule over it. And you realize that that's not what it's about. And so, I realize having great strength and great confidence means I have to repent and follow Christ, so I don't get too high up on my high horse and feel I'm better than other people. I've had to look at myself in the mirror and say, it's an interesting, I don't know how to explain it, but it's an interesting game how the more ambitious and more confident you get, you can be blinded by pride and ego. So in order to minimize that and to not be blinded by that, I pray more. I have to pray more. I have to repent and ask the Lord to keep my ego in check and help me. And I do. And I think that that's what allows, I believe, anyone to become like a hero. You know, that's how I want to be. I want to be remembered as a hero, and not just for glory, for like just no glory, but just like as an example that if I could do it, you could do it. Really, man, I'm really telling y'all for real, speaking from my heart. And you know what? I always say to myself, like, when I make these videos, it's like, yo, you never know. Our days are numbered, and life, they say, is short, but you never know when you're gonna go. And like, I don't want to wish that upon myself. I pray that the Lord gives me a long enough life to have a beautiful family and get all my messages out and do everything that I've ever wanted to do. But at the same time, I'm always thinking about, you know, how life is finite. And so when I make a video, it's like, yo, what is something I can say right now that if this was the last thing people ever heard from me, it'd be this right here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I really want the world to know. And I hope this helps you. You know, I'm gonna have more videos. I'm working on my communication. I'm working on how I can deliver a message that can impact somebody, you know, and create more solutions. So if anything, I hope this video inspires you to watch how you communicate to yourself and start to audit the thoughts that you're thinking and the patterns you go through when you're struggling and how you can talk to yourself, and to start learning how to be your own best friend, your own biggest fan, your biggest supporter, and to always remember that, you know, your life is a movie in a way, you know what I'm saying? And take on the identity of a hero. You are the hero of your own life. You're the hero, and every hero has a story of struggle, and they get knocked down, and they get their strength, and they get their power because they've been through pain, and their job is to protect and to empower others. You know what I'm saying? So remember these things about yourself and start to apply it to your life. And once you do it every day, like I always say, it compounds, and then it's like repetition, and then you just become this type of person. And it doesn't mean it doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean like you're not gonna make mistakes. It doesn't mean that you're never gonna not feel confident, but it just means that, you know, like it really becomes who you are. It becomes who you are, and it becomes more natural. And so I challenge you. Believe that you are a hero of your own story every day. Every day, write it down. Write affirmations. It's all about creating the ritual of a superhero for your own life. That's what it's about. So remember, you're a hero. You're here for a reason. You're here for a reason. You're powerful, and I believe in you, and I'll never stop believing in you, and I'll never ever give up on you. And I pray you never ever give up on yourself. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.